Hello my friends, Stark here, stock date 2021.09.28. I've decided to sell my 1976 Ford L9000. I'm asking $10,000. I bought this beautiful 1976 Ford L9000 in the summer of 2013, and I had some grand ideas of converting it into a wrecker or tow truck. In the 8 years that I've owned the truck, I've done nothing but change the engine oil and filter and the diesel filter. So it's another one of those potential projects that one didn't get around to accomplishing. This truck is very rare for the following reasons. First, it is what Ford named a custom cab, and nowadays we would call that either a quad cab or a crew cab. Any Ford L series with the 4-door cab is super rare. Second, this truck has the long nose hood, which is readily identifiable by the setback headlights. There's 2 feet of truck in front of these headlights. Certainly an unusual and, in my opinion, handsome design. Thirdly, this truck has a very cool engine, the Detroit Diesel 671. Most of the Ford L series trucks were fitted with either a Caterpillar 3208 V8 diesel or one of the Ford V8 gasoline engines. Optional, however, was the Detroit Diesel 671. This is a straight 6 engine, 7 main bearing, 71 cubic inches per cylinder, hence the nomenclature 671. That's 426 cubic inches overall, and that's approximately 7 liters. This is a 2-stroke diesel, thus every downward stroke of a piston is a power stroke, and compare that to a 4-cycle engine or 4-stroke engine that we are more familiar with these days, where every other downward stroke of a piston is a power stroke. The first downward stroke of a piston on a 4-cycle engine is induction. That's drawing air into the cylinder. Well, on a 2-stroke diesel, that is unnecessary because they have a blower device. This is almost like a supercharger, but not as powerful. Nevertheless, it pushes air into the engine. So air enters through the filter normally, and then into the blower, where it's pushed through passages into the engine toward the cylinders. When a piston drops to below a certain point in the cylinder toward the bottom, that exposes a series of small holes in the bottom of the cylinder, and then air is pushed into the cylinder. As the piston then rises, those holes in the bottom of the cylinder are closed off. So the blower is always running and it's always pushing air into one cylinder or another. So because there's no induction stroke on a two-stroke diesel engine, it doesn't need intake or inlet valves in the cylinder head. It does, however, have exhaust valves, so the burned gases enter into the exhaust system in the same way that they do on a four-cycle engine. One important point to understand is that unlike your typical small gasoline two-cycle engine, where oil is mixed with the fuel, typically about a 50-to-1 ratio, these two-cycle diesel engines do not require oil to be mixed with the fuel. They operate, in terms of engine lubrication, the same as a four-cycle or four-stroke engine. They have their own dedicated oil supply, and in fact I've just changed the engine oil and filter on this engine. I've also changed one of the two diesel filters. Overall, the custom cab is in excellent condition, but there is a little rust starting at the top where the drip rail is. This vehicle has always been kept inside under my ownership, at least up until the last 3 weeks, and that has protected it from winter weather. You know, it's hard on these commercial vehicles to leave them outside. Unlike your typical modern car, they have so many nooks and crannies and crevices that will collect and retain water. Whereas these modern cars, the water just runs off. It doesn't tend to collect. Now you can see a little naughtiness up on the drip rail. Let's climb up there. So that's about the worst rust on the vehicle. Really, the rest of the cab is in excellent shape. The frame is massive. It's 10 inches deep and 3/8 of an inch in thickness. So clearly there'll be no rust issues in the frame. Heavy duty rear springs. Well, heavy duty everything. Heavy duty drive shaft. And this rear section has been recently replaced. Good tires. Great tread on the tires. It's about half an inch deep, maybe a little more. Everything on this truck is stout, built to last. Look at the size of that plate that secures the front spring hanger. In fact, look at the size of these front springs. Well, come to think of it, you need some serious front springs when the engine alone weighs 2,100 pounds. That's more than a ton just in the engine. And I'm not including ancillaries. Once you add the Allison 4-speed transmission, automatic, my goodness, look at the size of that radiator. Absolutely huge. This is the built-in air compressor for the air brakes. Here you have your alternator. We have some redundancy. 2 V-belts, not one. And we have 3 V-belts on the main drive pulley system. And that's operating the fan for the radiator. What a cool truck. Yeah, you should buy it. Unlike the rest of the truck, the dashboards of these L series trucks seem to be somewhat fragile, yet this one is in great condition. No cracks, no visible foam, no chunks missing. I really like the overall design, especially the way in which this bank of monitors on the right side angles toward the driver to give a cockpit-like feel. We have 54,782 miles showing on the odometer, and keeping in mind this is an ex-fire truck, those are correct and original miles. Returning to the bank of monitors, I see that 4 of them are blank, which means that a future owner could fit some additional monitors such as transmission oil temperature, exhaust pyrometer, external thermometer, and so forth. Here's the rear half of the cab interior. We have a partial bulkhead that separates the front from the rear half, steel of course, and the attachment points appear to be for a pair of fire axes, no longer with the vehicle. In back, there are 3 pairs of clips to hold the oxygen backpacks for firemen, and there is storage under the seat, lots of storage. Dash you've already seen, headlining is in nice condition. This is the only photo that I have of the truck before the body was removed. I purchased the truck as is, a chassis cab. The body appears to be a combination ladder truck and squirter. Alright, let's run through the startup procedure. Rotate the battery cutoff through 180 degrees and press the start button. The mighty Detroit Diesel. Alright, let's give her just a little bit of grief. This truck doesn't have an electromechanical fuel cutoff, it's purely mechanical. And that shuts down the fuel supply to the engine. Well, shall we take a short drive from my photography spot here and return to base? Yeah, let's do that. But don't get too excited, it really is a short drive. I'd let you drive, but you're not here. Release the air brakes. 5-speed automatic transmission. And she's rolling. My foot is not on the pedal. Let's make some progress. Yeah, she's a big girl. The F350 looks tiny by comparison to the L9000. Gross vehicle weight is 33,000 pounds, which means that the driver is required to have a CDL, commercial driving license, unless the truck is converted to a motorhome. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. Take care. See you next time.